Good morning, everyone. Today is the 16th. I'm going to talk about this big myth later on that people believe or buy into. Because I get emails and people ask me about this. But before I get to that, I'm going to talk about these supplements real quick. Take a quick drink of coffee. Okay. Phase 8. Great product. I've been using this for a while now. And I've used it throughout the day. I use it in the morning time. Then I tested it a while ago just at nighttime for the recovery principles, which you get into what I want to talk about. And definitely good at night. I mix it in with my smoothie. Freeze or buy frozen berries when you're making your smoothie, or buy something comparable to this, or make your own, which I do. And I'm developing a way to put all these things together and put them in there because they preserve better and they're easier to mix into your smoothie. And I use it in my day one, I use it in my night one, I use these different antioxidants, berries. So I try to use as many real foods as I can throughout my day because I do take supplements and I do weave them in and out. This is a great buy, pure protein. I used to take them back in the day. I think one of my sponsors used to give me some. Sam's, these big things right here are $20. And then online they're actually even cheaper, so it's a good buy and it's a good protein. I mainly use it during the day. It's like my in-between proteins and stuff like that. A little bit more of my fast action type of protein. There's different types of protein. It has a lot of isolates in there, whey isolate, and just a pretty decent product in the buy. And Premier protein bars. I haven't been out. I kind of got off of protein bars for a minute, and these have 20. Walmart. I got on my Walmart. They have 30 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, 8 grams of sugar, 3 grams of fiber, which is pretty decent. I usually don't go over 10 grams of sugar per intake unless I'm doing something specific that I want to do, and I use dextrose or some other different types of sugars and stuff like that. So those are my supplement reviews. Give them a try. So I always have people around the world and people doing, so people ask, well, how do you test all these different things? I have people around the world and people that I trust and that I get their information, share information with them. Shout out to my boy Tory Veland in Omaha and Dave over in South Omaha. Those guys are really putting in work. Tory puts a lot of good information out about nutrition, how to eat, wholeness, and everything else like that. And so I watch his information, I follow his information, so I'll give him a shout out. And Dave is very inspirational. He uses a Body by or V products. I have been testing their products, and he's getting some great results over in South Omaha, in Nebraska, where I'm from. Shout out to him. But I have clients and people that I've trusted, that worked with me in the past around the world, that, some people I just ask them if they're interested in helping me with my experiment or a new workout thing that I got going on, or a new nutritional thing that I got going on. And I set them up with all the information and they get to go do it. Sometimes they get to come and work with me personally. I don't film their journey. I don't talk about their journey because it's, for one, their journey. For two, I don't present my findings or anything else about any of my hypotheses or any theories that I have about working out, exercise, nutrition, or anything else until I get some result, until I get some concrete evidence. I don't support or put a claimer to anything that it is that I do until I see it being done, until I trust the person that's doing it, or until I research and have a comfortable feeling about this is what's being done. And then I go forth with as far as like making my recommendations or speaking about it or anything else like that. So I'll put thousands of what people would say is dollars because of my training profession and time into my research and into my application with clients and people that I work with and people that test for me and studying and everything else like that to make sure that I bring the best of information to my followers, my friends, and everyone else that's out there trying to get in shape. Like I said, I posted a picture. You don't stay 20 some years in a game under 6% body fat, can grow, can get over 200 pounds, can get into contest shape and stay in contest shape, lift the world, jump over cars, run probably still a 4.6, 4.5 high, 4.6. Still probably have about a 38, at least 38-inch vertical jump if I tested my vertical jump at 40 some years old. You just don't perform and be able to perform with that level of consistency for this many years without first applying these things and for two, making sure that your theories and testing your theories. I mean, I got the injuries for the theories that didn't work and the hard times and the hardship for the times that I kind of stumbled and got off task to what it was that I should have been doing. But this past year, it's been awesome for me as far as like from a scientific standpoint, theories, traveling around here in Texas and places and experimenting and seeing what people are doing around the world. So this brings me to, I have a question that people ask me, and I'm going to explain this. So I hope y'all can grasp this concept, and not saying that because people are not intelligent, but it is very hard to get out of a slave mentality. And I use the word slave mentality is because once your mind is captured and you believe something to be because everyone else believe it to be, then you don't have to force it upon you because you choose to believe the delusion or the non-reality as the masses do. So what do I mean by this mentality and what am I talking about? Eating at night. I hear this. People always say, well, I want to make sure the next day or this is my caloric intake for the day. Well, I'm going to blow this myth out the water. You don't have a day caloric intake. There's no such thing. There is a time of day, meaning light time, and then there is a night, meaning nighttime, but your metabolism and your body and your absorptions and your anabolic and catabolic principle is working around the clock. It never stops. If it did, you would be dead. It don't have a cutoff at 1 something, and now you're going to be burning into next week's thing or 2 something, or because you have this in your stomach, because different foods and different things digest at different times. And it may take you, if you kick your caloric intake up, you may be 18 hours burning. And so that's burning into the next day, depending on what time you kicked it up. Or you may be, with a food, you may be in a deficit without eating for 20 some hours or 8 hours or 15 hours. So now you're in an anabolic, catabolic state, ketosis. So there is no, okay, this is my caloric intake for the day, this is my caloric intake for the day. That is a very flawed science, and I don't like when people use it, but I even somewhat kind of use it, and I speak upon it. It's just like, when you speak upon things, it's because they're general people, and so you have to get your point across. So you have to use the verbiage, or you have to use the thought process of the ideologies, or so that people can grasp and understand, or you wouldn't be speaking to them, you'll be speaking through them or past them. But believe me, there is no 2,300 calories per day. There is no turn off, there is no turn on. What there is, and what my clients do and what I do, there is the efficiency for activity. This is how all animals eat, and we are but animalistic at best in most cases. As far as the abundance or the efficiency of being able to have food there available, like lions or hyenas, if they don't have food, they don't eat. Or people in third world countries, if they don't have food, they don't eat. Or you go out and you hunt for these foods and you eat them, and you eat them throughout the time, and you eat them whenever to bring your caloric intake up for whatever. Or you limit your activity because you're malnourished and you don't have food. Or you up your activity and play with animals when they have an abundance of food and different things, stuff like that. So those are the true systems in nature of how we should eat, and they go in a continuous cycle of availability. We have crossed that threshold because of agriculture and because we have food here in the United States, and people are not eating on those type of cycles. But nevertheless, that's still how the dynamics of evolution and how eating should be. So when I tell people, well, maybe you should think about carving up or eating things at night, they're like, I don't eat after 6, or like it's a magic number that you just cut off and your caloric thing kicks in for the next day after 6. That doesn't make sense. So let's say that you did stop eating and you didn't have a bowel movement, and let's say that you slept through the night and everything. Where do you think you're still burning calories, whether you're eating your own body fat or not, your own muscle? And you probably be eating your own muscle if you didn't have the right proper foods. But where do you think all this growth and stuff, especially for a natural person, a person taking drugs, you can get away with it because you can shoot it up and you have recovery. Where do you think your recovery and your most efficient and essential recovery process of your day, or whatever it is that you're doing, or whatever damage that you have caused to your body, or whatever you have tapped into your body, or whatever building mechanisms that you got going on from a growing muscle, leaning out standpoint, where do you think this happens at? It doesn't happen in the gym. It doesn't happen in the activity. This happens outside the gym and outside the activity. Mainly at night when you're sleeping in a deep sleep. And it happens when your growth hormones is being released. Mainly at night. It happens if you eat to boost your testosterone at night with time release. Protein like I have, protein synthesis, glycogen synthesis. You can carb up. Why do you think bodybuilders, when I compete, I used to wake up every 2.5 hours at night, set an alarm to make sure that I was carving up. So strategically, it would be even more efficient if you woke up at night and then took in food if you wanted to actually lose body fat, build lean muscle, like most people say they want to do. From a strategic standpoint, you would do every 2.5 hours, 24 around the clock. And you will lose body fat and build lean muscle. That's why it's so hard to lose body fat and build lean muscle. But you can take foods like my protein mix. I do have formulas and stuff that you take at night. Different types of proteins have different absorption rates. Different fruits or different foods have different type of glycemic spikes. Some, like an apple, will spike the glycemic level almost like sugar will, and it has fructose, so it's going through your liver. But it will subside and level out, but you still get the insulin spike, which is actually a growth factor if you're sleeping through the hours of 11 or so o'clock at night, where your body is actually releasing this natural growth factor, and you have protein there. So you have an anabolic situation with a growth factor, which is actually conducive to putting on lean muscle size. Kind of like the same thing when somebody inject growth hormones with steroids and everything else into their body. Being natural, you have to learn how to time up these windows. So when people tell me I want to lose body fat and I want to gain lean muscle, and I tell them the tricks, and you have to eat at night, and people are like, I want to lose fat. Then they're like, I don't eat after 6, or I don't eat after this. I'm like, there's no magic turn off where if you clank it and then you reset the next day. Yeah, your nutritional things like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything else may be spaced out so that it looks like it's periodically from day to day, but your body is continuously going through cycles 24/7. And if you wanted to build lean body mass and lose body fat, for one, you will time up your nighttime closer to when your body is releasing hormones in comparison, because your body releases certain hormones in comparison to your sleep pattern. If you sleep during your recovery, make sure you have antioxidants, make sure that you have different fats for the testosterone levels at their peak time, with growth hormone being released naturally by your body, which will, with the macro micronutrition, create the best possibility of being able to lose body fat and gain muscle, and then continue doing what it is that you're preparing for the next particular day. So you're always preparing and you're always structuring around that preparation, especially if you can plan out, you know, you have a heavy lifting day, if you have a leg day the next day, or anything else like that. So my answer to almost everybody's question is, why aren't you eating at night? You should be carving up if you're trying to do particular things. You should be taking in time-release proteins. You should be taking in antioxidants. You should be maximizing your growth hormone times at night. Actually, the time that you're growing and the time that you're being efficient is when you are at night. Everything else that you're doing through the day is going to be a catabolic type of situation. Even walking is catabolic because you have the atrophy of pounding. You are pushing your metabolism. Working out is definitely catabolic. Actually, just even the metabolism itself, for the most part, is a catabolic environment, unless you are making it anabolic by adding food or doing other things, or cutting off the catabolism of your bodies, or the things that's going on, you're releasing them hormones, as that's going to make you anabolic. The principle is most people are anabolic for the wrong reasons. That's why they are storing body fat. That's why they have a high percent of body fat, because they are staying anabolic at night because of what they ate during the day, and then they'll think they're going to cut it off at 6 and they're going to be cool, but they ate a chocolate cake or whatever, and it doesn't cut off because your insulin levels stay raised throughout the night and everything else like that. If you don't believe me, ask a diabetic who will eat a high glycemic food that's not efficient, which I've done a study with my uncle who's a diabetic for the last 6 years, and he could eat a lot of different things, and he's surprised when he wake up in the morning because he has to stick his blood, and he could tell where his insulin level high was probably raised at night and whatever going on. So if you think that's not true, ask a diabetic, do their metabolism and everything, insulin and absorption and everything else go on at night, which there's no cutoff of calories or caloric intake at any particular point until you are dead. Plain and simple, because your body will get calories even if it has to eat itself. So, and in eating itself, well, most people's principle will probably be, well, I want to make sure that I'm eating fat at night. No, that's not actually necessarily good, because it could be taking away muscle and turning into acetylcholine and then actually using it as energy. So you're actually getting worse off by cutting it off and starving yourself and eating yourself and not actually getting your recovery. So there's a whole bunch of different principles that go on with that. If you have any questions, excuse me, you can contact me. www.L.G.Fitness-Messiah.com is my webpage. Lamont Gilchrist on Facebook, Lamont Gilchrist Natty on YouTube. And I can give you a better insight or a better discussion about how to maximize losing body fat and gaining muscle, and how to eat at night, and how to maximize the number one growth time of your whole 24-hour cycle, which is sleep and recovery. That is more important. It's probably 30%, 40% important to what it is that you're trying to do, as the 40%, the other 50% is nutrition and what you're taking in at the particular time, and 10% is the actual physical activity or the construction that you're doing, unless you are a sports specific person. So then you have to train for a trait or train for a production. But if you're training for aesthetics, working out is only 10% of the equation. You know, it's not really that difficult, I'm gonna be honest with you. Even with drug people, working out is only 10% of their equation. It's about taking the drugs, recovery, and eating, so they can get back to it faster, their body recover, and they can go 100% a lot faster than a natural person can, where it would take me going hard about a week or 10 days to recover at a really hard body part, sometimes a little bit quicker because I have, efficient eating and recovery skills because I understand how to do it. The average person, it may take 12 days, 14 days. And if they go right back into it, they're going to be tearing on top of tearing. So then they're going to have some chronic things building up and they're going to get injured. That's the cycle. That's how it goes. My name is Lamont Gilchrist. Remember the supplements, give them a try. Freeze your fruits and your antioxidants because they last longer. You can keep on, if you don't freeze them, you put it in the refrigerator, they go get rotten and they go, especially if you ain't got them in a temperature control climate, the humidity level where fruits and stuff have to be stored at, figure out how to store them. If you don't have that, then they're going to get soft and be rotten, where you can freeze them, put them all in a baggie, freeze them, put them into your shake, eat them after they're frozen, and you can keep them for months. Once again, my name is Lamont Gilchrist. Hope this helps. Thanks.